Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. If you have not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we're now on the road to 300 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. We have sports news, sports betting, special segments, daily uploads, updated rankings every single week, my reactions, anything at all. It's all right here on the Talk of the Town podcast. So I promise you, your subscription will be well worth it and much, much appreciated. And speaking of special segments here today, we have Top 10 Tuesday. If you're not familiar with Top 10 Tuesday here on the YouTube channel, at the end of every single NFL week, we re-rank the top 10 teams and QBs headed into the next NFL week. And this week, there is lots of changes in the rankings, that's for sure, especially following a big week of upsets. Even yesterday, and I'm going to talk about the Chiefs and Jags game here in a little bit. That game was an upset. The Chiefs were favorites, even though, funnily enough, it seemed like a lot of people had the Jags winning that game more than anything. But yeah, the Chiefs were favorites. Jags pulled off the upset, and what a way to end the week there. So I'm going to talk about the Chiefs and Jags, and then we're going to get into Top 10 Tuesday here today. I know today there is the LeBron decision. I might end up talking about that a little bit, but I want to wait to see if it really does. We all kind of think it is hinting at retirement. So I might just wait till today, later on today. I think I'm going to make that its own separate video, to be completely honest with you, especially if it is retirement, because there's a lot of rumors like it's a stupid advertisement or, we have no idea. I'm not necessarily going to go in a whole thing here today and it's an Amazon Prime ad or something. Like, I don't know. So he's calling it the decisions of decisions, but you never know anymore. So I'm going to wait till the announcement or his decision is in an hour from now at the time of me recording this. So we'll see. Hopefully, literally, it's like right after the time I get this video up, that should be up. So I'll know whether or not to make another separate video for that. So today we're just going to do Chiefs and Jags and Top 10 Tuesday. Then tomorrow we also got Why Not Wednesday as well. So stay tuned, everybody. Let's get started here with the Chiefs and the Jags. So I'm going to start talking about the Jags to start off, talking about out of these two teams here. What a game last night, and Liam Cohen deserves a ton of credit for what he's done with the Jaguars. To be honest with you, no one's known whether or not to take Jacksonville serious. Like, I still don't really, even after the win last night, I still don't really know what the hell to think of Jacksonville somewhat. So, but I'll tell you this, though. After last night, I definitely take the Jags more serious than I did 24 hours ago. I thought the Jags were a good team, but to beat Kansas City, and honestly, Kansas City, if you watched my video yesterday, in the end of the video, I predicted the Chiefs and Jags game. I did take the Chiefs to win that game, especially in a big spot. I'm going to talk about that here in a few, but the Jags in a pretty important game, not even just for Jacksonville, but for Kansas City as well, for them to really climb back in their division, played very well. Jacksonville's defense looks really good. They have been for the whole season so far. The first 5 weeks, their defense has really been the main storyline. I thought their offense has been playing well. Trevor Lawrence has been pretty inconsistent to start off the season. There was some drives where he looks great, and then there was some drives it's like, what the hell? I mean, that interception he threw in yesterday's game was really bad. To be honest, I don't even know what the hell Trevor Lawrence seen on that interception there. But Jacksonville did end up still coming on top in that game. So I thought that's pretty impressive to be able to have turnovers, have mistakes against a team like Kansas City, even though they're not necessarily having the best season to start off so far, and come away with a win. I thought out of anything, their final drive was the most impressive. Lots of times that honestly, I thought the game was almost over. He made some big time throws. The one that I thought was the best, honestly, not only really of the season for Trevor Lawrence, but one of the best of Trevor Lawrence's career so far, was that 33-yard throw he had to Brian Thomas Jr. That towards the end of the game there. Brian Thomas Jr. struggled. I mean, mind you, Jacksonville's 4-1 now, and Brian Thomas Jr. struggled. Trevor Lawrence has been inconsistent. Still kind of waiting on him to really pick up that consistency there. Travis Etienne's actually been very good. Last year, it kind of looked like he was cooked, to be honest with you. Well, he's actually been very impressive to start off the season here so far. I didn't necessarily have the greatest game in the world yesterday, but he has been great so far to start off the season. And Travis Hunter, I still think they don't really know what to do with Travis Hunter so far. To be completely honest with you, to me personally, I would hear your guys' thoughts on whether or not you think should they keep trying to mess around with Travis Hunter being a receiver and a cornerback. Do you think they should just take him at full-time receiver, full-time corner? I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. But to be honest with you, I think they should just stick him at full-time corner. Having him as a full-time corner in a defense that's playing at a very high level right now, in an offense that's pretty sustainable, just kind of, they're not necessarily the most explosive offense. They're not playing the best offense in the world, but they're playing well enough to string them out some wins. And honestly, they could play better. Like I mentioned, Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter hasn't really necessarily found his role in that offense, to be honest with you. He hasn't necessarily been the greatest receiver in the world. He's been okay, but hasn't necessarily blown anyone away with his receiving play so far. There's no doubt about that. But I think they should just stick Travis Hunter like full-time corner. But how well their defense has improved, and just the entire team in general, the culture of the team. Trevor Lawrence, before this year, to be honest with you, I've seen it in his pregame speeches of him trying to pump up the team. When he had Doug Peterson and when Urban Meyer and stuff. I mean, he's been through a ton to start off his career. I mean, he really has. We've seen Trevor Lawrence seems like he's been in the league a long time. He's only been in the league like 4 years, which is kind of getting into like now, like, okay, you should be entering your prime. And he is. Trevor Lawrence has still, even though this season he's played good, they're 4-1, still a little disappointing. I think Jags fans would agree with me here. I would just like to, I think we'd all just like to see him be a little bit more consistent, to be honest with you. He just kind of has long stretches during the game where he just completely disappears. Still has some really ugly turnovers. Even yesterday in the win, he had a really ugly turnover. Again, like I said earlier, luckily it didn't end up costing them the game, but he just has a few really boneheaded plays during games, and it's like he was a generational prospect, and he was supposed to be like one of the greats, and that's where the greats, every quarterback makes boneheaded plays. Brady, Manning, Mahomes, they all do it. Mahomes had a 98-yard pick six in that game. Like it just happens, but he makes he makes too many of them during games a lot of the times. And you just like to see him clean up some of that, because there's no doubt the potential is there for Trevor Lawrence still. And even though he's not necessarily playing the greatest, like he's playing good football, but he's not playing great football. Hopefully that last drive yesterday, where I mentioned he had that throw where if he would have threw it a couple inches lower, a couple inches higher, it would have been out of reach for Brian Thomas, or it would have gotten batted down by the Kansas City defender. Ended up just dropping it right in the bucket. One of the best throws of his career so far, I think so, to be honest with you. And the game-winning touchdown he scored he just fell. He got his foot stepped on by his center, and he ended up falling. He was down for a prolonged period of time. I was like, honestly, 9 times out of 10, that play gets blown up and it just turns into an utter disaster. But that time right there, he got up and ended up making a play out of it, and that's what matters right there. What a play there from Trevor Lawrence to end up scoring it. And he was really, really hyped after that play, which is good to see, because he's not necessarily the best hype man in the world. I mentioned a few minutes ago when he had Urban Meyer, he had Doug Peterson, like his pregame speeches and the way he pumped up the team, there was a lot of concerns about whether or not he really cares about playing football. Well, I think this season and that last drive in general really shows like Trevor Lawrence is in the game. Like he is all in right now. And I'm sure he's heard that talk, and he's probably sick of me hearing it. New coach, new culture, new players. Jacksonville definitely seems like they're headed in a really good direction in their franchise so far throughout the first 5 weeks. Of course, they had to keep it going, but in terms of their division with Houston, even though they won 44-10 against Baltimore on Sunday, they have not looked great to start off the season. Anyone can carve up Baltimore. Tennessee and Cam Ward and Tyler Lockett could go in and score 30+ on Baltimore right now. So I'm still very weary of Houston. Their offense, don't really know what to make of it. I don't know if we all seen those comments C.J. Stroud made last week, but he said he feels like he's getting old and he's slow and he can't move like he used to, and like alarmed a lot of people. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? You're 20. He's a year older than I am. I'm going to be 22 in like a month and a half. Like, I don't know, man. It's like he's literally like a year and a half older than I am right now. It's like, bro, Or he's literally like a year older than me. Like, he's 23. I'm going to be 22 in a month and a half. Bro, like, I can't imagine you're a professional athlete in top tier shape. You're not getting old, dude. And you say that, you scare me a little bit, to be honest with you. But man, the Jags, the defense is rolling. A lot of sports analysts. I've seen Colin Cowherd say earlier this morning he still doesn't know what that would make of the Jags, and he doesn't know where he's going to put them in his hurt hierarchy today and stuff like that. Spoiler alert: Jags could or could not be in my top 10 today. Just stick around and see that. But again, I'm still a little weary of the Jags a little bit, but them yesterday night going out and beat the Chiefs, I feel a lot better about Jacksonville than I did 24 hours ago right now. Hell of a game there, man. And I think the Jags are legitimate playoff contenders. Now, the only thing why I say, though, that the Jags, why I still don't really know what to make of them, is like, how is this team going to play in January? Like, how is this team, if Kansas City does end up making the playoffs, which at this point, even though they're 2-3, I'd still assume they're going to end up making the playoffs. Just on personnel, having Reed and Mahomes counts for like 90% of that, to be honest with you, no matter how not great the rest of their offensive roster is. I'll talk about that here in a few. What was I going to say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The Jags in January, when they go against the Chiefs, like, are they going to be able to beat the Chiefs in January? Are they going to be able to beat Buffalo in January? Like, some of these teams, like, are they going to be able to really compete in January? And I'd love to see them play the Colts for one. I think that's going to be a really good divisional matchup. If you would have told me 5 weeks ago the Jags and Colts would be 4-1 and their divisional game in the AFC South would mean a ton of me. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I figured the Jags, though, like, the Jags were a dark horse team for me coming into this season. The Colts were absolutely not. I was actually one of those people, along with the media, who really shit on the Colts. And I've admitted, man, we are all completely wrong in that. You still have some people saying, the Colts ain't this, the Colts ain't that, whatever. I see the Colts. I think they are a legit football team right now. Their roster, their offensive line, everything's rolling for the Colts right now. So Jags and Colts, man, that is going to be a pretty good game whenever they play each other next. I don't know if they play each other like next week or whatever. I got to look at the Jags schedule, look at the upcoming week here for the NFL after this video. But if they do end up playing each other this week or whenever next, soon, I'd assume, that's going to be a hell of a game to watch right there. So that'll mean a lot. Jags, great game last night. You guys have really put yourselves in a good spot here through 5 weeks. And it's only going to get better because I think Brian Thomas is going to get in his groove. They're going to figure out what to do with Travis Hunter, Trayvon Walker. They got a lot of stuff gelling for the Jags, and they're 4-1 here. So good for them. I'm going to talk a little bit here about the Chiefs. The Chiefs last night, I ended up taking them yesterday in my video to end up winning that game. I thought in a big spot here, a team that we all know is notoriously good in big spots, and ended up kind of falling apart again last night. And even the defense, a play where they had Trevor Lawrence down, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, they didn't end up pulling that off either. So I think, if there was a play to make right there, I mentioned 9 times out of 10, that play where the center steps on Trevor Lawrence's ankle and he's down on the ground for a pretty prolonged period of time. Usually that ends up getting blown up, and the Chiefs defense didn't end up making a play on that last night. So I think the Chiefs are a really weird team to pin right now. Because if you look at them, it's like they were 11-0 in one-score games last year. Well, you knew they weren't going to repeat that same success this year. And they're really kind of rolling back with the exact same team they had last year, kind of banking on, hey, we know we're going to play in a lot of one-score games. Can we go 11-0 in one-score games again? I mean, they're really rolling back the same unit. They've definitely made some upgrades to the offensive line a little bit. But really in terms of the receiving crew, the defense, everything's really the same. This is like the same Kansas City team from last year. Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, yeah, man, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice is going to come back here, I think, this week or the week after that. I know it was in week 6, but, they're going to have to hope Rashee Rice comes back as the same player he was a few years ago. I think he will because he's still young. It's not like he tore his ACL when he was 31 years old or something. He's still very young. But in terms of a pretty major injury and not playing for a while and now having all the legal issues in your head and stuff, that's a lot for anyone to go through. So, you just have to hope he can come back as the same player. I think he will, but I'm not going to fully say, hey, Rashid Rice is back. This team's going to be fully in. Let's hope Rashid Rice can keep the train on the tracks here going into week 6 if he does end up playing this week or the week after, whenever he comes in and plays again. But it's weird to pinpoint the Chiefs because they're rolling it back, but like the offensive weapons is like, you want to say the receivers. Well, Mahomes makes it work. I mean, honestly, you look at these guys that are open, the scheming gets them open. Like, that doesn't necessarily seem like the issue. I mean, Hollywood Brown is a good receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton, which drives me nuts as a Patriots fan seeing him break out right now. He's a second-round pick on Tyquan Thornton, playing pretty good for the Chiefs. To be completely honest with you, Xavier Worthy coming back has played well when he's had to come back for the Chiefs here these last few weeks. Played really good against Baltimore. And Travis Kelce's obviously not what he used to be. He's a shell of himself, but he's still a good tight end. He's a serviceable tight end. And there's some chemistry there with him and Mahomes, obviously. So, yeah, man, I think the Chiefs, again, you can't really pinpoint what their issues are. I mean, their defense still plays well. They have Spags. It's just, I feel like they could just use more upgrades on offense. Like, it feels like they're just kind of pulling by like, hey, you know, we had the same thing last year. We're going to roll with it back again. Hope, you know, we probably know we're not going to go 11-0 in one-score games, but I think we could go 8-3. Well, it's kind of backfiring on them right now this year. I think they really need to go make a big signing this offseason, to be honest with you. And I think they should probably go get another pass rusher as well. Chris Jones still has some juice left in the tank, but they could really use another one along with him as well on that Chiefs defensive line. And especially, like, I took the Chiefs too in a big spot. They've been great in big spots. The AFC West is kind of falling apart. The Chargers are completely falling apart right now. The Broncos got the win against the Eagles, but the way the media is bashing the Broncos still after a win, Bo Nix has not really played great so far this season, kind of regressed a little bit, even though they are 3-2. The defense is playing very well, of course, which is what we figured. But the Broncos offense has just been very stagnant. Like, it's been very strange. And you think the way the media has beaten up the Broncos so far after their win on Sunday that they would have lost against the Eagles. So the Broncos still feel like they're not playing to their full potential. Maybe we overhyped them coming into the season. I don't know. But yeah, man, the Chiefs just feel like they're in a really weird spot right now, to be honest with you. Like, I think they're going to end up making the playoffs, at least be competing for it. They're not going to be like 5-12 or anything like that. This team is still very competitive. And I thought Mahomes played well for the most part yesterday. I mean, they had that horrible 98-yard pick six, but I mean, I mentioned, I think Mahomes is having a good season. Like, even though his numbers statistically aren't there, I think he's actually playing really well. And I thought it was weird at the end of the game yesterday, too. They called the excessive timeouts. Like, Andy Reid calling too many timeouts. Like, dude, how long have you been coaching for? You've been coaching like about double, like 40-something years, like double the length of my lifetime. So weird game there yesterday for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will be fine still, to be honest with you. They're 2-3, but they just do not feel like perennial Super Bowl contenders, to be completely honest with you. They feel something is off with the Chiefs, and I think they're rolling back what they had last year, and it's not really working. Again, you're not going to go 11-0 in one-score games back-to-back years, so it's kind of coming back to bite them a little bit. So good game there yesterday. Good game for the Jags. Chiefs will be fine. Good game there yesterday. So let's head into Top 10 Tuesday here today. We're going to start off with the top 10 teams. Some honorable mentions here, or I have one honorable mention, which is the Commanders. They got a big-time win. Jane Daniels back. They're 3-2 again. Again, as long as they have Jane Daniels, this team's going to stick around the top 10 probably most of the season. I just hope he doesn't get injured again. Two teams that are not in here, that are out, that were in last week, Chiefs and Chargers. The Chargers are falling apart. You know, you lose your top two tackles. Hampton's on IR now. Najee Harris is out. You can't make that up. I don't care who you have as a coach. Jim Harbaugh is one of the best options you can have as a coach. And no matter who's back there, you're not going to be able to make up the loss for your two best tackles, Joe Alt or Sean Slater. You lost before the season. You lost Joe Alt last week. That's just too much to overcome, to be honest with you. And it takes away the identity Jim Harbaugh loves, which is pounding the rock and asking less of Justin Herbert. Like, now you're asking even more of Justin Herbert with your two tackles down and now your two running backs out. I think they have to start, what's his name, Vidal or whatever his name is. So, rough. It's looking really rough for the Chargers. And when you're missing that many people, man, and you drop back-to-back games, Herbert hasn't really played well either. Going to drop you out of the top 10. Chiefs, they ended up winning yesterday. They ended up staying in, but they stay in my honorable mention. I think the Chiefs, again, will be fine. Just went on a full rant about them for about 10 minutes or so. So you guys get my point on the Chiefs. Commanders in the honorable mention spot, 3-2. Jane Daniels is back, and that team's going to stick around in the top 10, man. So in my number 10 spot, moving down a spot here, they were number 9 last week, is the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to penalize them for a loss like that. Darnold played great. The defense, Mike McDonald and Todd Bowles, when you have two really good offenses, it's going to be hard to really call a good defense, to be honest with you. You know, Mike McDonald coaches an amazing defense, but Tampa in that offense is very hard to stop. I don't care what defense you have. That is a team that is, you got Baker playing at an MVP level, and Puka's really, as a rookie receiver, looks like he's been playing for 5 years now. He has been amazing for the Buccaneers so far, and they had a hard time stopping them on Sunday. And the Seahawks, though, they lost 38-35 on another clutch Baker Mayfield drive. Once again, what he's been doing all year to pretty much every single team he plays. So I can't really mark or dock them too many points for that. I thought they played a really good game. I think if they played just about 80% or really almost any other team in the NFL, they ended up winning that game on Sunday. They played a great game and still played like a top 10 team. They just ended up dropping to another top 10 team. So not going to dock too many points there for the Seahawks for that. Number 9, a team I just went on about, new here on the list, the Jacksonville Jaguars, now 4-1. A team, again, I mentioned a few minutes ago, I still don't even feel like they have it all together, and they're 4-1 right now. And I think they're way better than the Houston Texans. I think they're better, obviously way better than the Titans. I don't know about the Colts. I don't think they're better than the Colts right now. They're not playing better than the Colts, but definitely would like to see that division matchup because division matchups are strange. So again, I still don't even feel like they're really playing to their best ability. Travis Hunter hasn't really broke out. They're still kind of figuring out where he should play, what he should do. BTJ still, kind of getting into the swing of things. It's kind of had a cold start, but it's starting to heat up. We see it at the end of that game yesterday. So the Jags defense is playing great. Trayvon Walker coming back, and man, I still feel like they haven't even played to their full potential yet. Just got to see more consistency out of Trevor Lawrence, and we'll really see if they're for real in these upcoming weeks. Packers on the bye week, they do drop down a spot. I just thought some teams played really well this week. I know some people love when they rank top 10s. They don't drop teams on a bye and they keep them where they're at. Well, I do. I'm never going to drop a team out of the top 10 on a bye week. To be completely honest with you, I'm not going to do that. But if I feel like a team played really, really well, I'm going to move them up over the Packers. So I'm not going to drop them down 4 spots on a bye week or 3 spots, even really 2 spots. I feel like I drop them down a spot. They stay in the top 10 relatively around the same. They just drop from 7 to 8 on a bye, which they can easily make up with a win next week, considering they haven't necessarily been playing great anyway the last few weeks after that really hot start. So I feel like the Packers, on a bye week, not much to say there. I do end up dropping them a spot. The Rams, down to number 7. They end up dropping down 3 spots from number 4 after the loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I still feel like the Rams and Packers were to play tonight. I would probably take the Rams to win that game, to be honest with you. The Rams do play the Baltimore Ravens here on Sunday, so I think the Rams will definitely pick up another win here heading into there, especially after their loss to the 49ers, a team that is very similar to the Ravens, injury depleted everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's just mass amounts of injuries to some of their best players, And same with the 49ers. They ended up losing to the 49ers on Thursday. And I was just like, there's no way now Sean McVay. Because I said it in the last week that the Rams, I feel like, went into that game like, hey, 49ers have no one playing, especially on offense. We're just going to kind of come in, kick their ass a little bit and leave. Well, the 49ers are not for that. And the Rams ended up picking it up at the end of the game, ended up playing better than the 49ers at the end of the game, but it was too little too late. So the Rams ended up losing that game, came in with I felt like kind of, I don't necessarily use the word cocky, but just kind of careless, really. Like, hell, we're just going to go in and beat this injury-plagued 49ers team and call it a day and move on to Baltimore next week. But I think they'll definitely win against Baltimore upcoming on Sunday now that Sean McVay is like, we're not letting this shit happen again. So Rams at 7, drop 3 spots, you end up losing to a seriously injury-plagued 49ers team. I got to move you down, man. So number 6 now, I have the San Francisco 49ers, a team that is not even anywhere close to being healthy. They move up 5 spots from an honorable mention last week. I ended up moving up to number 6. See, this is the thing. And you're like, well, Matt, this team is injured to all hell. How are you going to move them up to number 6? If this team is playing like this with Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and I don't know, who the hell's their other receiver they signed? I don't even know. Demarcus Robinson and Tunges, George Kittle's out. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's looking a little old. I mean, they have the second oldest offense in the entire NFL right now. I had someone point out to me in my comment section earlier this morning about how their defense is the second youngest defense. I actually didn't realize their defense was that young. I'm glad he pointed that out so I could mention it here in today's video. I thought their defense was a little older. I knew they were younger, but I didn't quite realize they were the second youngest unit in the entire NFL. So that's pretty impressive there for the 49ers. The 49ers, luckily, had not quite seen as many injuries on defense as they have on offense. As long as they still have Fred Warner, those guys, they'll be fine. But they're doing this without Kittle, without Ayuk, who hasn't played in forever, Pearsall, Brock Purdy. I mean, it's seriously impressive what they have going on in San Francisco. I got to move them up to number 6. Even though technically you look at their roster right now, you're like, that is not a top 6 roster with the players they have active going to be playing here on Sunday. But no, dude, they're out there winning games with what they got, and they're not even at full strength. You have to imagine if they were at full strength, is this team 5-0 and potentially in a top 4-3 team for me right now? I don't know. So I think number 6 is a good spot for San Francisco, especially with the way they're playing and with how much they're missing. So good for them. And a big win against a divisional opponent there on Thursday. Number 5, staying in the same spot is Tampa Bay. I know they played a great game against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday, 38-35. Incredible performance from Baker Mayfield. They did let up a lot of points, though, which is why I was kind of like, do I keep this team out? They didn't play well against the Eagles, although they played very well in the second half. But the thing is, like, even with the top 10 quarterbacks here, I'll talk about in a few, these teams are all so good. And the same thing with the quarterbacks is like, so you are literally splitting hairs with teams right now. You're splitting teams with quarterbacks. So honestly, if you wanted to move any of these around, you're like, well, Matt, why the hell is Tampa 5? Shouldn't they be like 3 or 2, especially barring an Eagles loss, barring a Bills loss? You know what? If you wanted to move any of these teams around, let me know. Let me know in the comment section which teams you guys would move around. I'd be very curious to hear. And I don't have any issues. I do not have any issues with teams I should move around because I think we can all agree we're splitting hairs with these teams. You look around and it's like Tampa's 4-1. The team I'm about to mention here in a second, 4-1. The Indianapolis Colts, number 4. Now I'm talking about up 4 spots from number 8. Like, you are splitting hairs with all these teams up here. But the Colts, a team I bashed so much five or 6 weeks ago. I was like, there is no way this team with all these hurdles, Daniel Jones, which I know we can all agree, no one thought he was going to play as well as he's playing right now. People wanted to say he's going to end up playing a little bit better. The Colts are a better team than the Giants. I think we like Shane Steichen more than Brian Daboll. And I can completely understand that take, but I didn't think he'd take this leap he's taken from playing in New York to getting cut and going to Minnesota to now what he's doing with Indianapolis is nothing short but incredible. I'm happy for him, dude. He's a good guy. He's a good locker room guy, and the Colts as well. The offensive line has played great. Jonathan Taylor's playing like a top 2 or 3 back in the league right now. If you want to say number 1, I'm not going to argue with that at all, man. I mean, he's at least a top 3 back in the league. He is just playing incredible, especially with Derrick Henry not getting many touches. Now, even when he is getting touches, the offensive line can't block for him. And when Derrick Henry can't get that running start, he's can be kind of stagnant on any offense he's on. And Jonathan Taylor, man, has just been killing it in the run game for the Colts. They had a blowout win against the Raiders, 40-6. Talked about that on my YouTube channel yesterday, man. And what a game. I mean, just the Colts are not only are they winning, they are just kicking ass. And that's why I got to put them at top 5. And they're not just pulling out these wins. And that's why with Tampa's playing great football, but a lot of their wins are on like last-second drives. Like, these are very close games. Indianapolis is just kicking ass. Like, they're literally just putting the foot on the gas pedal, man. And they're just like, they're not putting their foot on the brake. They just are full throttle the whole way. So, major credit to the Colts. If you would have told me 6 weeks ago I'd have this team in my top 5, number 4 on my top 10 Tuesday, I'd call you crazy. But you know what, man? I honestly, one of the things with me is like, I do like being proved wrong. I like seeing new teams really blossom, man. And that's what they're talking about. The AFC is like, you see the Patriots, you see the Colts, you kind of see the Chiefs falling off, the Ravens, the Bills losing last week. It's like, is there like kind of a new uprise here in the AFC? The Jags playing well now. So, yeah, man, Colts just kicking ass right now. Got him in my number 4 spot. Number 3, though, a team that has not lost in over 280 days until Sunday is the Philadelphia Eagles. I was almost debating on, honestly, but in my opinion, moving them down to like number 5, because this team has worried me a little bit. Honestly, I think the Colts are playing better than Philly right now. I think Tampa, the reason why I wouldn't have put them over Tampa, or I wouldn't put Tampa over Philly, because Philly did just beat Tampa a few weeks ago. Even though it got really close, and honestly, you look at the second half, it wasn't even comparable with how much better Tampa was than Philly in that game. And Philly against the Broncos here on Sunday struggled. I mean, this is the thing that's really worrisome with the Eagles, and this is starting to become a consistent pattern with this team, is you have a really young, inexperienced offensive coordinator. And it's not like you have, again, last year I mentioned the other day, I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple days ago, no, it was yesterday, that one of the things with the Eagles is like last year, when they were struggling at the beginning of the season, and people were legitimately talking about Sirianni's job, and they were not using Saquon Barkley enough and everything, we just had Kellen Moore calling the offense. You had a very experienced offensive coordinator with the Cowboys and everything. Now as a head coach for the Saints. So you had a guy who was very, very qualified and good at his job. And I'm not saying this Philly offensive coordinator, can't be good at his job, but he's very inexperienced. And this is where you have to wonder, is like, okay, they ended up pulling themselves back together with an experienced Kellen Moore. Can they do it with this guy? Can Nick Sirianni, like, I hate to say it, but like, I think we all still wonder, what the hell does Nick Sirianni do, to be honest with you? And I mean, I'm sorry, Eagles fans. I think, okay, I have friends who are Eagles fans. I have lots of friends who are Eagles fans, and they agree. They sit there and say, hey, I don't know what the hell Sirianni does, but we're winning games. Well, in this moment, these kind of moments now where the offense looks very, 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 very vulnerable, let me say that. This is the chance now for Nick Sirianni to pull this team back together and be like, hey, we have to change whatever we're doing right now. I think they're almost trying to force the ball to A.J. Brown, force the ball to Smitty. Like, it feels like almost everything they kind of do on this offense feels forced to a player, because it's like, hey, this player is extremely talented. We have to force this and get this player the ball. So that's kind of, the Eagles feel like they're like really stuck right now on offense. I think their defense is playing fine, to be honest with you. But their offense is an issue right now for this Philly team. They do not look like anywhere near the same team they were last year. But this time last year, their offense was not good at all. They ended up pulling it together and strung 280 days worth of wins. So, I think the Eagles will be fine. But I am a little more concerned than I was this time last year with Philly, because we don't really know what we're getting with this offensive coordinator right now. So I do drop them down 2 spots. I think they're playing worse than these 2 teams here, which number 2, staying in the same spot, is the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to drop them to a loss to New England here. Because for one, I think New England's a lot better than people think they are. I was watching a video actually a few minutes ago before I started the podcast. This stretch of New England's game, they could literally be 11-2, best case scenario. Like, these next 9 games, the hardest game they have is Tampa Bay. But besides that, they play against like Atlanta, Cleveland, New Orleans, Tennessee. Even though they're bad teams, I mean, Atlanta's okay, but they're not necessarily a great team. They lost 30-0 to Carolina, and then the next week the Patriots beat Carolina like 40-something to like 14. I don't know. It was really bad. So the Bills are fine. Josh Allen playing Superman again, but this is the issue I have with the Bills is that in January, is this going to be the same story of the receiving crew kind of falls off, or they kind of they very much limit the receiving crew. They play against a really good secondary because again, you're not playing against teams like the Jets in Miami. Like you're not playing against bad teams in January. This is where it always catches up to Buffalo. Is like you're playing against good defenses that force you to have Josh Allen play like Superman. That's what the Patriots did on Sunday night. They forced Josh Allen to play like Superman. They took a lot of the receiving crew away, besides Dalton Kincaid, who had over like 100 yards, so it's driving me nuts. But they forced Josh Allen to play like Superman, which ultimately ended up with the Bills losing barely. But it almost kind of feels like in January, what if they end up going against the Chiefs? They end up going against a team with a good defense. Maybe New England sees them again. Who knows? But it almost feels like rinse and repeat with this Bills team. And it's kind of scary because in January, is this going to be the same thing with the Bills again? Are they going to force Josh Allen to play the Superman role? And is this what we're going to get again a few months from now? But as of right now, I think they're fine. They're 4-1. Divisional games are always weird. Them in New England have a little bit of a history anyway, so I thought they played a good game. Very sloppy in the first half, but ended up pulling it together in the second half, but just didn't have enough time. So number one, though, new number one spot right now, moving up 2 spots is the Detroit Lions, a team that I loved coming into this season, a team that a lot of people were shitting on coming into the season, to be completely honest with you, saying, hey, Detroit could be a 7-win team. You lose Ben Johnson, you lose Aaron Glenn. Now we got to put a lot more trust in Dan Campbell, a guy that, can we really trust him? We see him in big spots, go for it on 4th and down when he shouldn't, 4th down when they shouldn't be. Can we trust him now to take the reins? They have very young coordinators, new coordinators, and they look great. They look absolutely great. They had that pretty demoralizing loss against the Packers in week 1. But I mentioned after week 1, the Lions, don't sell your stock on the Lions because you're going against a team that traded for Micah Parsons like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And in their house, the most hyped I've ever seen a Packers team, well, not ever, I've seen a Packers team in a long time. I mean, a long time. This Packers team was hyped up to all hell. If they were to play the Packers this week, I think Lions all day, to be completely honest with you. They were playing in the Packers' house after that big trade, lots of hype going around. And there was no chance. I said the Packers could have played any team that week in week 1, and they would have beaten any team. They would have beaten Buffalo. They would have beaten Baltimore. I don't care who it was in week 1. They would have beaten any team. And unfortunately for the Lions, it was them. And it's already a hated rivalry, enough as it is anyway. So, yeah, man, I don't pin that game against the Lions at all. I said this team's perfectly fine. You see, they just went against in the trade they made, and they had been steamrolling over teams ever since. Played a really good game against the Bengals, and there's every team they've been playing against. Baltimore, when their team was healthier, and had 7 sacks against Lamar Jackson, which is almost unheard of, to be honest with you. So this Lions team right now is rolling. I think they're the best team in the NFL right now. As of week 5, man, they are just playing some incredible football. They're on a heater. That offense is looking just like it did with Ben Johnson. So I love this team, man. Detroit is really rolling right now, moving up 2 spots and taking the throne, the number 1 spot here for the top 10 teams here on my top 10 Tuesday this week. We're just going to move into the top 10 QBs real quick. This is where I feel like I could get very controversial on my list. I feel like I'm going to get some comments saying, dude, how the hell do you have this guy in your top 10? Like, okay, I don't know. Who gave this guy a podcast? Trust me, I've heard that a couple of times. Trust me, bro. I get it. So these QBs again, man, I was splitting some serious hairs with these QBs here, especially if I don't put your QB on here. If your favorite team's QB isn't on here, you're probably gonna get upset. I'm gonna trust me. So honorable mentions though, I do have Jordan Love, and Lamar Jackson is off of the list because of injuries. It seems like he's going to be out a while. I did the same thing to Jaden Daniels last week and a few weeks ago, the last couple of weeks. If you don't play, I'm not going to have you on the top 10. We all know Lamar Jackson is a top 3 or 2 quarterback when he plays. But if you're not playing, I'm not gonna take other guys off the list saying, hey, if Lamar was playing, he'd be top 3 and should be on the top 10, but he's not. So I'm not gonna do that to these guys who are playing and playing good football. That's just how I roll with my top 10 QBs list. Jordan Love in the honorable mention spot, literally barely off the list here. If you wanted to put him on, I don't care. I'm never going to complain about putting Jordan Love on a top 10 list, unless obviously you have been like number 1 or something. Then I'd be like, okay, dude, you have to be like a Packers fan and hate every other team in the league. So, number 10, though, I had Jared Goff, new on the list. I was going to put him higher. I was really debating on it because Jared Goff has been playing some seriously like MVP level football. He's first in passing touchdowns. I had to pull up my stat list here. Just I can't write it down on my notes. I just don't have enough room on my page. New on the list, number 1 in touchdowns. The last 4 weeks, he has been one of the best pocket passing quarterbacks in football right now. 2 picks. One thing I've noticed about these quarterbacks, especially when you look at all these top 10, these guys throw like no interceptions right now. Usually you have a guy that throws like, he's kind of like 5 picks, something like that. Trevor Lawrence, I know, had a decent bit of interceptions, but man, Jared Goff is playing some really good football. If you're going to argue it should be higher, I'm not going to complain. I wanted to move him higher, but again, these guys here on the list are playing such good football. It's hard to move these guys around any higher or any lower, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of these guys, even to me on my top 10 list, feel like they're robbed of being higher, but there's only 10 spots for these guys. So Jared Goff, number 10, new on the list. I feel like it's fitting for him, especially, going against like Cincinnati's defense. You're really going against just a pretty ass defense. Even regardless, when he's playing against good defenses, Jared Goff, he picks them apart anyway. But one of the things with Jared Goff, obviously, is can he play in the cold? Can he play when he's not in a dome? Of course, I know he can. We know he can. But to a certain degree, those rumors are true. When he has to play outside in the cold or anything, which he's not right now, can he sustain this level of play he's at? Number 9, dropping a good bit of my list and down to number 9, moving down 4 spots here. I have Jalen Hurts. Eagles fans are not going to be happy with me for moving him down this far. I did have him top 5, but look, he has no interceptions. He's tied for first, obviously, with no picks in the league right now. He has 7 touchdowns, which is tied for 16th. If you just watch the Eagles offense, though, like, I don't know if I can justify Jalen Hurts right now going into week 6 being like a top 5 quarterback still. Look, the Broncos defense is a really tough defense. So I'm not really going to dock quarterbacks many points for that. But this offense should be way better than they are. I'm not going to deny he's had some great drives against the Rams, had a great game against the Rams. He does have great games. But, again, this offense should just be playing better than they are. And it's not completely his fault. It's definitely not anywhere near all Jalen Hurts' fault. But, again, I mentioned yesterday in my video, it's a weird comparison, but it almost reminds me of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, but with just way better players. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense from last year, like with Russell Wilson a little bit. It felt like either they break off big runs or it's a big, deep shot down the sideline. It's like their only source of offense. That's kind of what it feels like, except the Eagles had that element of the tush push and using Jalen Hurts' legs. Again, I don't think it's all his fault. I think the Eagles' offense is very, very they don't know what the hell to do because there's so many good players on it. That it's kind of making Jalen Hurts suffer a little bit in terms of his play as well. But I am going to have to move him down. Again, they have way too many good players to just have this offense be as bad as they are. And it's not his fault completely. It's absolutely not. He doesn't have any interceptions. He's not turning the ball over or anything, which says a lot about him. If he's out there and he's doing all this, he has 3 or 4 interceptions right now, he wouldn't even be on my top 10. But he definitely deserves a lot of credit because he's not turning the ball over. And he's playing like a top 10 quarterback. He's still number 9 on my list. But where a lot of people have moved him out of the top 10 quarterback list in total. They haven't even had him in it this year. So just would like to see the offense play a little bit better, see him be, I guess, a little bit more in command and be more consistent in terms with that offense, if I had to say so. Number 8 on my list, moving up a spot, is Drake May. My quarterback for my team, the New England Patriots right now, definitely gained some clout from a lot of the team, or from a lot of the NFL after his game against the Buffalo Bills. He didn't end up throwing any touchdowns, but he didn't have to. you just watch the game and the throws he made, when Buffalo let him roll out to his right, it was a disaster for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, he was picking the Buffalo Bills apart with extreme pressure, and the Bills were full-on blitzing Drake May, and they were getting the best of that offensive line. And, I mean, he had the one where, again, he was getting dragged by his collar right here. Pretty much being pulled down and ended up pulling out a first down throw to Stephon Diggs, and that duo was starting to look pretty special there for the Patriots. And when you look, I like New England's offense better than most. I do like Kayshon Boutte. I do like Demario Douglas. Hunter Henry's a good tight end. Like, they do have good personnel on the offense, but you look compared to what some of these other guys have, it's like, damn, man. Like, could you imagine if Drake May had that team? You know, like, I don't know. Like, their personnel could definitely be better on offense still. They do look a little slow out there. There's no doubt about that. But Drake May, even, I don't care if he had no touchdowns or not, he pulled off a win against a team that's better than them. Like Buffalo, I will fully admit, is better than New England. And they ended up pulling off the win, man. So, and Drake May was a massive reason for that. The throws he made, the clutch throws on the run, the throw into Stephon Diggs was like 40 yards down the field on the run over like two defenders, man. That's top 10 quarterback play right there. He is making the team better around him. And that to me means a lot. And that's where I have the argument with Jalen Hurts. I was like, is Jalen Hurts making the team better around him right now? Again, it's not all his fault, but Drake May, I put him above him because he's making the team better around him with his throws and his athleticism and his playing right now, for sure. So I have Drake May at number 8, moving up a spot from number 9, a quarterback right now that I have moved down a ton. I'm looking at my list. Justin Herbert down to number 7. I was almost debating on moving him down lower. Like, I almost really kind of wanted to put Jalen Hurts above him. I think Jalen Hurts is playing better right now, to be completely honest with you, but Justin Herbert's first, 3 weeks is kind of carrying him through this right now, to be honest with you. We know Justin Herbert can play very well, and again, a lot of it is his fault. You lose your 2 best running backs, your 2 best tackles. I can't necessarily pin that all on Herbert, but he's thrown, 4 interceptions over the last 3 weeks now. So he's definitely struggled over the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt about it, but we know Justin Herbert, when he plays at his best, is a top 10 quarterback in the league. But he moves down a good bit. I mean, he moves down from 4 to 7, and trust me, I have no shame on moving these guys down if they're playing bad. I don't just do it based off of potential. Like, yeah, we know Justin Herbert. I think I had him as high as number 2 or 3 on my list. I mean, I had him I think number 2 a few weeks ago, to be completely honest with you. I mean, he was right there. And these last few weeks, he's really just trickled down the list. If he has another week like he's had, he might very well be number 10 or moving into the honorable mentions next week. And here's a really bad week. He may very well end up being off. But yeah, moving down to number 7, man, tough stretch here for Justin Herbert. Again, not entirely his fault, but definitely has fallen off since his first couple of weeks when he was regarded as an MVP candidate, and definitely not now. So unfortunately for him, he's kind of fallen off that MVP ladder. As of this moment, season's still early. We know he can pick it up, but these injuries that team has sustained has really dropped off his play. So number 6, I have new on the list, back from injury, Jayden Daniels. For one, you're going to say, well, Matt, he has 4 touchdowns, no picks. He's barely played this year. When he has played, they've won games. I think, are they undefeated, or did they lose a game when Jayden Daniels played? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, please, because I can't remember if Jayden Daniels, if they did end up losing a game when he did end up playing in it. I know they ended up beating the Giants week 1 when he played. I think they did end up winning a game with Mariota. I can't remember. I've been keeping up with the Commanders, but the only thing with Jayden Daniels, is he playing, is he not? It's just kind of throwing me off. But I know for a fact when he's played this week in week 1, they have won. The Commanders have won games, which they have not done when he's not really playing. They were 2-2, back to 3-2 now. He's 4 touchdowns, still no interceptions. I don't really care about statistics because he hasn't played the last couple of weeks. But Jayden Daniels, man, really out here playing some really good football. Obviously, we know he's next up. When he plays, his team just wins. That's why I have him so high, is because it's a completely different team when he's playing than when Mariota is. That, to me, when a team is blatantly worse without you, means a lot. It literally means a lot, because that team is night and day difference with Mariota and Jayden Daniels. It really is. Jayden Daniels deserves to be Again, I don't want to put him quite yet in the top 5 because he's just coming back, first game back from injury. But I think he deserves to be at number 6, and I think he's playing better than some of those guys that are up there right now. And the team needs Jane Daniels. Now, it's not. Oh well, it's nice when Jane Daniels plays. No, like they need him to be successful. That to me is a sign of a top 5, borderline top 5 quarterback right now. Number 5, a spot you guys may get on me for. But I think a lot of people will agree with me at the same time right now. I've seen a lot of comments about it and everything, a lot of talk about it in the sports world. Daniel Jones moving up from 10 to 5 on my list was not something I had on my bingo card. You look at his stats, 6 touchdowns and 2 picks. He's 3rd in passing yards. You see, like 6 to 2 is not that impressive. You just watch him play and the way he carves up a defense and makes big, like clutch third down throws. Like the Colts offense is just so good right now, and Daniel Jones is a massive part of it. Him and Jonathan Taylor, he's throwing to good receivers. I mean, Pittman, Adonai Mitchell, like he is throwing to Josh Downs. Thornton's playing well. Like there is that offense is pretty loaded and full of good players. And Daniel Jones is he's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. He's picking teams apart, making clutch throws. He doesn't have to throw to have 10 touchdowns to be a top 5 quarterback. You just watch Daniel Jones play and the way he's in command of this offense. Really just tells you all you need to know. And this tells you all I need to know as well. I just made the point with Jay Daniels. If Anthony Richardson were to step in for this team tomorrow and play or play whatever on Sunday, whoever they play, it would be a drastic drop-off because Anthony Richardson can't pass like Daniel Jones can. He can't do it. So it would be a drastic drop-off from Daniel Jones. That's why Daniel Jones is a top 5 quarterback. Because if they were to switch roles right now, this was Anthony Richardson in this offense, it would be completely different. And a top 5 quarterback deserves to have that respect of like, hey, if this team didn't have you, if we were to switch quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson is one of the better backups in the NFL still. They probably, honestly, for most, not most teams, for some teams he'd start right now. They'd end up taking the chance on his potential, but you see where the team was with and without Daniel Jones last year to now. It is night and day. It is a night and day difference. So congrats to Daniel Jones moving up top 5 on my list. You look at his touchdown to interception ratio. He may not necessarily be the best quarterback in the NFL in terms of that, but you watch him. He's just playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. No doubt about it. Colts got them a good one right now. Maybe another Baker Darnold kind of story. Geno Smith. Number 4 on my list, moving up 3 spots. Yes, I know they lost, but Stafford, especially after a week where a lot of these quarterbacks did end up losing games, didn't have great games. Stafford did end up losing, but he did end up having a good game. I just think, again, like I mentioned with the Rams, like the Rams were just kind of cocky coming in that game, I felt like. But Matthew Stafford is playing some good-ass football. I just think he's been a top 5 quarterback in the league, borderline top 5. I'm just moving him up because I like the way he played against the 49ers. I think the play calling just kind of stunk against the 49ers too. Like the Rams just did not play a good game. Like they just were not good against the 49ers. But again, Stafford didn't play bad. I thought he had a good game. The Kyron Williams fumble screwed him over. He's 2nd in touchdowns right now. He's 1st in passing yards, 2 interceptions. And this offense is actually playing really well under him. Again, didn't have the greatest game on Thursday, but Stafford, you watch him, he's playing like a top-notch quarterback in the NFL. He moves up to number 4 for me. Number 3 right now, moving down a spot. Maybe some disagreements here. I think a lot of people just don't like him as it is anyway. Patrick Mahomes. I think if this team were to not have Pat Mahomes right now, it would be a complete dumpster fire. They're 2-3, even with Pat Mahomes playing honestly pretty good and making some incredible kind of just old school Pat Mahomes on the run deep throws. He had one to Tyquan Thornton at the beginning of the game yesterday that I thought was a really good throw. You look at his statistics right now, 8 touchdowns to 2 picks. He's 6 in passing yards. You're kind of like, they're 2-3, but Mahomes, you watch him. I think he's playing phenomenal football. I really do. I think he is playing very well, especially with what he has, to be completely honest with you. When you make a Tyquan Thornton look good, I'm not necessarily saying that has nothing to do with Tyquan Thornton being a good receiver or not, but his kind of level of quarterback, they make everyone around them better. We know Mahomes does that. You don't have to give him much for the team to work. Again, I think the Chiefs will be fine. I think Pat Mahomes is playing some really, really good football. Even though the stats don't necessarily say, well, he's playing great. You watch him; he is playing really good right now. It's not necessarily it's not his fault why they're losing these games, to be honest with you. Number two, moving up massively on my list after a great performance against a top defense within the Seattle Seahawks, and just playing another really clutch drive for Baker Mayfield here, moving up to number two, moving up 4 spots. He's tied third for touchdowns, 1 pick, a pretty bad pick against the Eagles last week. 4th in passing yards. Baker Mayfield, why I have him up so high is he is, for one, an MVP candidate on the MVP board in terms of MVP odds and everything. He's playing like an MVP. How clutch he has been deserves so many points for him and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of how clutch he has been in these moments to be able to get them on game-winning drives. Because honestly, if you were to replace him with 90% of the league's quarterbacks right now, they wouldn't be able to pull off what Baker's done for all these games they've won on these clutch drives. When it just seems like, dude, Tampa should not be winning these. Baker just pulls them and drives them down the field. And he deserves, to me, to be number 2 because these drives and these games he's pulling off is pretty incredible. When most teams would be down, kind of sulking, like, hell, dude, like, how the hell are we blowing this? Like against the Jets, the Texans, he just drives them down the field, gets them on the game-winning drive, what feels like every single time. So he has been phenomenal. Moves up 4 spots to number 2. I think he's the second best quarterback in the league, especially with the Lamar Jackson injury. And yeah, man, Baker, the just the clutch factor for him right now has really just been absolutely massive. So Baker, number 2 on my list. Some people may think it's high. I don't know. To me, I really like it. So Baker stays at 2. Number 1, staying there for me even after the loss, is Josh Allen. Didn't have a great interception. Or he had a bad interception, but Josh Allen is you see him out there just playing the Superman role. He is tied for 7th in touchdowns, 2 picks, 9th in passing yards, but you just watch Josh Allen out there play quarterback, and you're like, damn, this guy is going to be an all-time great. He is already an all-time great pretty much, but what would the Bills be without Josh Allen? Let's just say that. And again, I've been mentioning that a lot throughout this video. It's like, well, what would this team be without, you said Daniel Jones, you said Baker, you said any of these guys, Josh Allen more so, man. Everything he does between the passing, the ridiculous throws on the run, just the threat he brings on the field for any defense is just too much to overcome for a lot of teams. So if the scheming can stay well, and he doesn't have to play Superman, Josh Allen, I think, will get his first Super Bowl this year. He definitely stays number 1 on my list, even after a loss. He is just playing pretty out of his mind still. They're 4-1. I don't care they lost to New England, even though I'm a Patriots fan. He stays number 1 on my list. So, yeah, man, that's it for my top 10 Tuesday, top 10 teams, top 10 QBs, reacting to the Chiefs and Jags game from last night. Good game last night. I felt like it's a good video here today, man. Pumped out about an hour of content here for you guys. I might end up making another video. Actually, the LeBron James decision is 12:04, so I'm immediately going to open up my phone after I end up making this here today and see what the hell this decision is all about. So might be another video coming out here soon. I'm going to immediately start recording after I make this as well. If there is, I'm going to make a video on the LeBron James decision. Hopefully it's not. I don't open my phone and it's a damn Amazon ad or something he's promoting for opening a bunch of restaurants, chicken restaurants or whatever, like Shaq and them have been doing. Yeah, I guys have seen Shaq's chicken restaurant, but dude, I think there's one coming near where I live at in Maryland, man. A lot of these guys are like Dave's Hot Chicken. Like these chicken restaurants are really taking off. Hell, who knows what restaurant is going to open, but I don't know. All those athletes are getting in the the chicken tender game and all. So who knows? Maybe I'm gonna have a big chain of restaurants or some shit. Who knows? But we'll see. I'm about to open it here in a few minutes. So again, that's it for Top 10 Tuesday. Good content today. Thank you guys for all your support throughout the week. We're on the road to 300 subscribers here on the YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys on Why Not Wednesday and maybe a LeBron James video.